What's your reaction?
It's a good fit for Brandon. I think at this point in Brandon's career, there's a few things that he has to keep in proper perspective. One is Brandon is just now getting on top of his overall mental health. And to me and his family, I know that's probably the most important thing. Also, the stance that he's taken, the public awareness, the campaign, things that he's established and created himself that have gotten a lot of people help. I know that's one of the priorities in his life. So stability, lack of movement, he can stay in the same location. Having a young superstar on the other side, it would benefit Odell Beckham because Odell's getting double teamed all the time. But the mental part of the game that tends to get in Odell's way sometime and get in the way of his talent, Brandon understands that because Brandon played a lot the same way.
Went through the exact same things.
He's been through going to other teams. And if Odell, if he wants to get that contract extension, this is a big year coming up for him. You know you're going to throw the ball to him over 100 times. If you look at Shepard last year, Shepard's not an outside guy. You know, could be a good pro receiver, but he's more of an inside guy.
Yep.
Victor Cruz is not an outside guy. That's why they had to move on from him and by his foolishness going on that boat with Odell. That got him out of New York. So as far as Brandon Marshall, his mental health, a team that he fits into, the mentality of the head coach, I think Brandon fits in because I think Brandon will bring some leadership. And I knew going to New England was a smokescreen. The reason why? He got problems with Marty Bennett, got beef with him, and let's not forget Josh McDaniels, what happened when he was in Denver. So I didn't think he was going to New England, but the rumor got out there. So I think this is the best fit for B at this time. He doesn't have to move. He can stay in New York. His mental health and all the awareness that he's created, he can continue on that path, and he can keep working on a promising broadcasting career that's going to be a lot longer than these last few years. And he can get into the playoffs for the first time in his career.
And that's what I tell guys. I say, you get too old to play football. You don't get too old to talk. And this was very...
God knows you know that. My grandpappy told me this.
This was always...
I heard that.
This was always important. I never for 1 second thought Brandon Marshall was going to New England. Because, first of all, it would totally take him out of his routine. Having that gig that he goes to on every Tuesday, that's important to him. That wasn't going to fly with Coach Belichick. Being as outspoken, being able to say when you think something's wrong with your offense or your team, being able to voice that to the reporters, that wasn't going to fly. This is an ideal situation, CC, and I agree with you. He doesn't have to move. He gets to stay in New York. He's becoming a bigger and bigger personality in New York. Victor Cruz, last year they had a bunch of guys basically that played the exact same position. Odell Beckham was really the only guy that could play outside the numbers. Yeah. And so now, but when you want to move him around, you put Odell in the slot, you're putting two guys outside the numbers that really they're out of water. Yeah, they can make a few plays, but that's not where they can be most effective. Brandon Marshall is a true outside, he can play inside because he's a very good receiver, but he's a true outside the number receiver. So now you have more opportunity to move Odell around without upsetting your offense because these other two guys really couldn't play outside the numbers. And I agree, the mental approach that he'll be able to say, Odell, look, I've been down this road that you're going on, and it's not going to end well for you because no matter how much talent you have, eventually they'll get tired of your antics and they'll move on without you. Because take it from me, I once caught 21 balls in a season, and they shipped me out after the season was over. I've caught 100 balls in 3-4 different locations, and this is my 4th or 15th. So he has firsthand, intimate knowledge of what will transpire with Odell if he doesn't change his way, because we've seen a lot of talented receivers. We've been discussing one over the last month about Hall of Fame. Talented. And sometimes production and tolerance, as long as production is up here, the tolerance is up here. But the moment production starts to get here, guess where tolerance got to go? You and tolerance are going out the building. So I think this is a very good move for Brandon. I never thought he was going to New England, and hopefully he gets an opportunity to get to and win a playoff game.
As a Dallas Cowboy fan, I must admit, this is really a good move for Brandon Marshall because it's a great fit for Brandon Marshall. In fact, the more I think about it, the better it gets for Brandon. I like him a lot, and you know him better than I do, and I know him pretty well. And I'm proud of all that he has overcome off the field because it's a lot, man.
Ooh.
It's an ugly lot that he overcame.
You don't even want to hear the truth.
No. But now, as you point out, he doesn't even have to move residence. He can stay right where he was, wherever he's living near Florham Park, where the Jets train, because it's about 20 minutes to East Rutherford, where the Giants train in New Jersey.
Right.
And he can go Showtime off the field, and they can be Showtime on the field too, because this has got some Showtime potential. They did go 11-5 last year. And just idealistically, I like the concept of Brandon sacrificing to go to New England to win a ring. But you do have a shot here.
Yes.
Eli is like the ageless wonder, and even though he still has that capability of leading the league in interceptions, which he's done 3 times, he was pretty good last year. And he was really good in the first half at Green Bay, and his receivers didn't back him up because I think they left their game down on a yacht.
Really good at that. Really good against Dallas in both games too, man.
He was really good in both games, and he beat my Cowboys twice, and they think they have the Cowboys number, and who knows, maybe they do. We'll find out soon enough. But the point is that he gives Eli a bigger target because Eli has never trusted those tight ends they have on that roster, and Brandon's not a tight end, but he's a bigger possession receiver.
Yes.
He's his new Plexico.
He is. He's that bigger guy. In fact, he's even stronger because Brandon has natural strength.
Oh, he's a big dude. He legitimate 6'4", 230.
And he takes care of himself.
Yeah, he does. He does. He works hard at it. He was. So my point is, I think they're going to be really good. They could be even better than they were last year. So way to go, Brandon Marshall.
Everybody, go ahead.
I think that there's going to be 4 or 5 episodes. We saw last year where Odell, he came off the field, he's upset visibly, taking his helmet off, doing things on the sideline. But when you have a veteran player, because that's one of the things that upset us last season. We were like, where are all the veteran players on the sideline? I mean, he walked past the whole team, walked past the coach and everyone. You won't be able to walk past Brandon Marshall because right or wrong, he will say something. And he understands the wide receiver temperament. He understands the personality. And I believe that it can be a tremendous blessing for Odell Beckham because as he gets ready for a breakout season, he's been over in Europe. I talked to him the last week. And he's looking forward to the Giants for the 2017 version of New York Giants.
Oh, good.
Everybody talks about going and winning a ring. The one thing that I talked to Ozzie Newsome, and especially Ozzie, I rolled back on the plane with Mr. Modell. I said, look, guys, I'm not saying I need to be an 85, 80 catch guy that I was in Denver, but I didn't come here to catch 30 balls either. I said, I want to participate. Now, it's easy to say, and you see guys, you see Chris Long is a prime example. He won a ring. He went to the playoff for the very first time. He said, but I'm not me. I can't do this. So now you're asking Brandon Marshall. Here's the guy that's caught 100 balls in 3 different locations, caught 21 balls in one season, and you expect him to go from catching maybe, 10 balls in a game to maybe catching 2 or 3? That's harder than people would ever imagine. CC, you know it. Once you get used to playing a certain way and catching a certain number of balls, man.
Yeah, but listen, I'm going to tell you something. As much as I wanted to, man, when they brought Randy Moss in there, I knew eventually this dude going to take over the show. And Odell Beckham, Brandon's going, he wouldn't sign there if he wasn't ready for this.
Yeah, to make that kind of sacrifice.
He is the perfect tandem to be opposite of Odell.